Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Zhou beamed. That was some good luck. He was familiar with the strengthened reversal card. He had no complaints about reversing 1000 days of life with every card. What's this shining stone? Based on his current knowledge, Super Heaven Grade was a grade above the Heaven Grade. What could be better than the Super Heaven Grade? Zhou recalled his battle with Lu Ge. He had broken Lu Ge's Super Heaven Grade weapon, High Void, with Unnamed. In that case, what was Unnamed's grade? He flipped his palm around, and Unnamed appeared in his hand. Use Shining Stone. Ding. Unnamed's grade will improve according to its host. It cannot be refined. Unable to use Shining Stone. Fuck you. Why did you give me a Shining Stone, then? Thinking that it was better than nothing, Zhou stored it away. Then, he looked at the list of item cards. After the system was upgraded, he had yet to look at the new item cards. After the system's authority was unlocked, what were the new additions? Zhou scrolled down. Apart from the disguise cards and the appearance alteration cards that were on sale, there were not many varieties of cards being sold. You've got to be kidding me. Does the increased system authority only affect the heavenly writing scrolls? Zhou closed the system dashboard. He did not purchase a golden lotus leaf right away. He was in Dajing Palace. If he sprouted a leaf here, he would easily attract trouble. Then, Zhou closed his eyes to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. At this time, the sounds of faint footsteps reached his ears. Someone's coming? Zhou continued using his heaven writing's extraordinary power. The footsteps were pacing on the steps outside the side hall. It did not sound like a spy or another tribesman. Zhou expanded the range of the hearing power. Wisps of extraordinary power swirled around his ears. The range of his power expanded from Dajing Palace to the nearby Evergreen Palace and did not show signs of stopping. Soon after, he heard a buzz before all sounds were abruptly cut off. Zhou opened his eyes and muttered, "There's a limit to the hearing power?" Its range merely covered the palace. Naturally, it was still much superior to what ordinary cultivators were capable of. However, this was the heavenly writing power. Should it not be more powerful? Can I only use it to its full potential by increasing the system's authority? Apart from that, he also noticed this power exhausted much of his extraordinary power. Forget it. I'll just meditate. Zhou did not plan on using this power anymore. At this moment, a voice rang from outside the hall. Greetings, Master. Zhou was familiar with the voice. Come in. Yi Tianqin, who was clad in all white, strode into the hall. Zhou opened his eyes and looked at her expressionlessly. What's it? Yi Tianqin bowed and said, I have a question, Master. Let's hear it. Although my injuries have been healing, there are times I feel weaker than I'd like, Yi Tianqin said. Your vitality has been removed by the Golden Dragon Talisman seal. It's only natural you feel this way. Zhou was rather tactful with his answer. If he were to speak bluntly, he would say she had grown old. Yi Tianqin asked, according to the current cultivation theory, shouldn't my lifespan extend whenever I sprout a leaf? Indeed. Zhou nodded. Can I prolong my life if I cultivate to the 9-leaf stage? Yi Tianqin looked up at her master. She knew her question was bold. It was regarding the 9-leaf stage, after all. It was not something that would be taught just because she asked about it. Zhou looked at her. After a moment's silence, he said, Your life can be extended. You're searching for a way to reach the 9-leaf stage? Yi Tianqin knelt and nervously said, I daren't make such a presumptuous request. Since you return to the pavilion, as your master, I'll teach you and guide you well. As a disciple, it's your role to ask. As your master, it's my duty to answer you. There's no need for this. Get up, Zhou said. Loyalty, plus 1%. Ding. Guided and disciplined Yi Tianxin. Reward, 500 merit points. Yi Tianxin looked up, visibly touched. I've been in a dilemma lately, Yi Tianxin said. Let's hear it. I'm thinking of severing my lotus, Yi Tianxin said, shockingly. Zhou was not surprised. It was almost inevitable for 8-leaf cultivators to think about the 9-leaf stage. You'll be recultivating from the 1-leaf stage. Are you willing to do that? Zhou asked. With second senior brother as an example, and you lighting the way, master, I have nothing to fear, Yi Tianxin replied. Zhou stroked his beard and said, there's no need for that. Yi Tianxin said with puzzlement, what do you mean, master? Chenghuang is a mythical beast. The ancient books say that anyone who rides it can live for another 2,000 years. Perhaps, that's your ticket to the 9-leaf stage. Yi Tianxin recalled everything that happened in the abyss. Indeed, her experience was nothing short of legendary and magical. There were many things that she could not comprehend with logic. Before she met Chenghuang, she could not even imagine such things. Zhou continued to say, the golden lotus absorbs life, this has been acknowledged by the cultivation world. If you can satiate the golden lotus, you'll be able to overcome the great limit of the 8-leaf stage. However, the longest a human can live is 1,000 years. Hence, nobody has overcome the limit yet. I see. As the first 9-leaf cultivator, you've already proven this, master, Yi Tianxin said. Zhou coughed, he pretended as though he was knowledgeable about this, but he was helpless as well. He did not know how much life the golden lotus needed. Fortunately, the cultivation world did not wander down a strange path just because they were under the impression he was a 9-leaf cultivator. Most of them walked down the path of severing their lotuses. However, Chenghuang dwells in moonlight woodland. There are too many beasts in the abyss. Even 8-leaf cultivators would have a hard time surviving there, Yi Tianxin said with a sigh. Chenghuang belongs to the fair folks, to begin with. You'll have to discover its mysteries yourself, Zhou replied. I see. Ding. Taught Yi Tianxin. Reward, 500 merit points. Zhou nodded and asked, how's your blue waves technique coming along? Yi Tianxin said, if I may be so bold, I'd like you to teach me something, master. Me and my big mouth. Zhou did not think he would be able to replenish his extraordinary power anytime soon. At this moment, Zhu Honggong ran into the hall and cried out, Master, a letter from 7th senior brother. Read it. Zhu Honggong read the letter aloud, Master, I'm sure everything's going smoothly in the divine capital. I know without a doubt you'll have a firm grip on the divine capital. Hence, I drove a wedge between the Rulians. There's no need to worry about Liang province since I'm looking after things here. Also, I received an important piece of information. It's highly possible that Great Yan's imperial tutor is still alive and that he's now living among the other tribesmen. Zhou was not surprised by this information. He had the same thought before this. If that person was still alive, it meant that they still had clues and a lead on the Red Lotus and the Lua woman. Hence, he said, tell him to continue his investigations. Yes, master. Zhu Honggong bowed. He glanced at Yi Tianxin and said with a chuckle, Master, I have a question for you as well. It's good that you're thinking of learning. Zhou was invested in this. After all, if he taught his disciples well, he could earn merit points faster compared to cultivation on his own. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that someone's been following me. The divine capital had stabilized, and peace had been restored to the imperial city. Who would dare follow Zhu Honggong around? Zhou said, are you sure that someone's following you? Thud. Zhu Honggong fell to his knees. Then, he shuffled on his knees. He looked at Yi Tianxin and muttered, Senior sister, can you move over slightly? I need some room to kowtow. Yi Tianxin. Zhu Honggong lifted his fingers and said, Master, you might not know this, but when I was still on Tiger Ridge, I was known for my vigilance. Yi Tianxin asked, Vigilance? Well, you can consider it as my instincts. These few days, I had a feeling that someone's following me. Then, I noticed that something was off. My stalker always kept an eye on me from a distance. Master, I heard fanatic worshippers will do all sorts of strange things. How am I supposed to deal with this, Master? Lu Zhou and Yi Tianqin were speechless. Yi Tianqin felt that the atmosphere was awkward, so she quickly bowed and said, Master, I'll be taking my leave. All right. After Yi Tianqin left, Lu Zhou looked at the kneeling Zhu Honggong and asked, did this happen in the imperial city or the divine capital? Sometimes, it's in the divine capital, and sometimes it's in the palace, Zhu Honggong replied. You'll be staying with me tonight, Lu Zhou said. Huh? Zhu Honggong was taken aback. He had expected his master to praise him for his charm and warn him to not get arrogant and to continue working hard. You have a problem with that? Lu Zhou looked at Zhu Honggong pointedly. No. Thank you, master. Zhu Honggong was crying inwardly. Lu Zhou pointed at the rush cushion at the side and said, here. You'll cultivate with me. Zhu Honggong felt like crying. He could only steel himself and walk to the rush cushion next to his master before sitting with his legs crossed. Lu Zhou glanced at Zhu Honggong out of the corners of his eye. He reprimanded him, straighten your back. Calm your breathing and focus your mind. Oh. Zhu Honggong straightened his back, looking as though a plank was tied to his back. After a moment, he said, Master. I suddenly feel there's nothing to worry about regarding the stalker. I think I can handle him on my own. Lu Zhou did not open his eyes. He said sternly, impudent. Zhu Honggong shuddered and no longer dared to speak or move. Ding. Disciplined Zhu Honggong. Reward, 200 merit points. Night fell. Lu Zhou did not move at all, he was in his meditative state. Zhu Honggong kept squirming about as he sat on the rush cushion. He felt rather uncomfortable. As the night grew deeper, he finally fell asleep. Lu Zhou opened his eyes slightly and briefly looked at Zhu Honggong. He shook his head and no longer paid any attention to Zhu Honggong. Then, he entered his meditative state again. After an entire night had passed, Lu Zhou did not sense anyone approaching or stalking Zhu Honggong. Lu Zhou opened his eyes when morning arrived. He had more extraordinary power now. He looked to the side. Zhu Honggong sleeping like a dead log. His snores were deafening, and he was drooling. Lu Zhou felt annoyed on many levels. Is this how an evil Sky Pavilion disciple should conduct himself? You bastard. Huh? Zhu Honggong jolted awake. He hastily wiped the drool off his mouth and prostrated himself. Master. Good morning. Since you're not interested in cultivating, go stroll around the divine capital. If you run into the other tribesmen's spies, kill them without questions. Zhu Honggong was overjoyed. That's a brilliant suggestion, Master. I'll surely accomplish this mission. After saying this, Lu Zhou waved his sleeve and walked out of the hall with Zhu Honggong trailing after him. He had seen the mark on the back of Zhu Honggong's collar. The mark flashed for a moment, but it quickly dimmed. Ordinary marks were directly put on the person. It was easy to notice and get rid of. Higher grade marks such as those used by the Celestial Masters sect would usually be used on talismans, which were then hidden on the target. Naturally, it was highly possible that it would be exposed. However, placing the mark on the target's clothes using engraving techniques required remarkable skill. At the very least, the caster had to get close to the target and draw it. Ordinary cultivators could not have done this. This was unlike the marks mastered by ordinary Great Yen cultivators. Master, I'll be taking my leave. Zhu Honggong bowed. Wait. Lu Zhou stood in front of Zhu Honggong and patted Zhu Honggong's shoulder. Another faint mark appeared. Go, Lu Zhou said. Zhu Honggong. Loyalty, plus 2%. Wow. Master is much more considerate than before. I'll be taking my leave, Master. After Zhu Honggong left the imperial city, Lu Zhou waited a while longer before he began to tail Zhu Honggong. The imperial guards and elites of the palace did not stop him. When he found a deserted spot outside the imperial city, Zhou flipped his palm. An appearance alteration card appeared in his palm, and he used it immediately. He instantly felt a crawling sensation all over his skin. After a while, the sensation finally disappeared. Zhou raised his hand and touched his old face. It was smoother now. It was like a complete makeover. His hair turned much darker even though he was still old. Are the appearance alteration cards changing my looks based on the days of life I've reversed? Before Zhou had transmigrated, he had been a young man. He would be lying if he said that he did not long for youth. He could live with the fact that he did not have enough reversal cards right now. Given time, he would one day be youthful again. There was no need to rush. However, he found it slightly unacceptable that the appearance alteration cards would not even give him a chance to temporarily look youthful. Alas, it was not the time to dwell on such matters. Zhou leisurely walked on the divine capital's streets. He sensed that the mark on Zhu was still in effect. The divine capital was being rebuilt at a swift pace. In just a few days, the ruins had been reconstructed. There were many cultivators hurrying about, clearly busy. Perhaps, Hua Chengyang's directive that allowed cultivators to fly in the city while it was being rebuilt made the divine capital seem livelier than before. This reminded Zhou of his hometown. The people there were so hardworking and intelligent that his hometown was labeled as an infrastructure giant. Shortly after, Zhou sensed that his mark was nearby, and he picked up speed. Finally, he could see Zhu loitering around the streets, looking listless and bored. Zhou understood Old Eighth's temperament. He did not mind it. He looked around at his surroundings, wondering where the mysterious stalker was. He continued following Zhu. Technically speaking, the divine capital was as huge as a county in the 9 provinces. After walking for a long time, he was halfway walking through a deserted area of the divine capital, but there was still no sign of the stalker. Was I overthinking? But the mark. Zhou was still lost in his thoughts when a stooping middle-aged man barred Zhu way. Zhu frowned and said, "Get out of my way." The middle-aged man said, "I'd like you to follow me." Zhu leaped backward. "Oh. I know, you're the one who has been stalking me. I had no choice. There are too many people in the divine capital. I had to resort to such measures. You've been stalking me for many days now. You should know who I am, right?" Zhu puffed his chest. "If you don't know, you'll be frightened to death once I tell you. I'm the evil Sky Pavilion's Mr. 8th, Zhu. Are you scared now? Kneel and kowtow to beg for forgiveness. I might feel merciful enough to forgive you. After all, I can understand worshippers like you," Zhu said. The middle-aged man cast Zhu a complicated look. He shook his head. It seemed like this man was slightly dumb. "I'm sorry, I'd like you to come with me. You'll understand when you meet the master." "You're not afraid?" The middle-aged man suddenly moved at blinding speed and attacked. A hint of energy could be seen wrapping around 2 of his fingers. He was clearly an elite. Zhu was not a match for him. Zhou held his breath and concealed his aura. The middle-aged was certain his attack would land when Zhu suddenly cast his 9 Tribulations Thunderblast. Boom. The middle-aged man staggered 3 steps back from the impact. A slight frown appeared on his face after he found his footing. The 9 Tribulations Thunderblast had been instinctively released. Its force was just nice. Zhou did not expect this lazy fellow to have such skills. Zhu glared at the middle-aged man. "You dare launch a sneak attack on me?" The middle-aged man did not make another move. If the battle was escalated, they would certainly attract people's attention. He lowered his hand and said, "I meant no harm. I just wish for you to meet my master. I'm sorry, but I'm busy. Mr. 8th, won't you come with me? I'll shout for help if you keep this up." Swoosh. At this moment, Zhou shot forward at lightning speed.